Who all in here can run, jump, or do anything athletic?
Me.
Well, to do all of those things, you need your ACL. The ACL is a key part in the human body. Most people have heard of an ACL tear, but they don't know the purpose of the ACL. So today, I'm going to tell you the ACL's job, what happens when you tear it, and the recovery process. The ACL stands for anterior cruciate ligament. It is a key ligament in the knee joint. It connects the femur to the tibia and prevents the tibia to moving too far. So when you bend your knee comes to a stopping point. That's the ACL. When I tore mine, they bended my knee and obviously it went too far and they knew that it was torn. But you still want to get an MRI just to make sure that it's torn. The ACL is usually torn in sports. Football, soccer, basketball, wrestling, and baseball are the 5 sports that it's most common to tear it in. Obviously, football, since it's the most physical, is the most common to tear your ACL. The most common way to tear it is to plant and twist, which is what I did. And usually when you tear your ACL, you can hear a popping noise, and that is the ACL tearing. Usually when you tear your ACL, you don't feel pain afterwards because there's nothing to hurt. That's why I thought I didn't tear my ACL, because I didn't feel anything because there was nothing there. But you will have swelling when you tear your ACL. Usually, when you tear your ACL, you need surgery so you can fix it. You can overstretch your ACL and you might not need surgery, but if the ACL can't do its job, then the only way to fix it is to have surgery. Now, when you go into surgery, you can either do it 2 ways. They can take from your hamstring or they can use an old ACL from a cadaver. Usually doctors recommend using a hamstring for younger patients so they're not using an old ACL from a cadaver. So that's what I did. They took a part of my hamstring, and the reason that they can do that is because the hamstring actually grows back within a month. So in surgery, they make 2 to 3 incisions, and they can take the hamstring from one of those incisions. So when they're fixing everything, they put 2 holes in the bones, and then they screw in the new ACL. And during this process, they're constantly flowing water through to expand the knee so the doctors have more room to work. So after your ACL surgery, you're actually in a brace from your thigh to your ankle, and that prevents you from bending your knee. You can't bend your knee for a couple of weeks after until you're finally getting motion and it's able to walk on it. You're usually on crutches for 2 to 8 weeks, and during this time, you're also taking physical therapy. Now, during physical therapy, you are slowly growing strength back into your knee, and you are slowly being able to bend your knee and walk on it during this 12-week period. So after you're finally done with physical therapy, you're not over. You have to use another brace for sports, and it comes down to your thigh to the middle of your knee. And the reason that you have to wear this is to prevent it from tearing, or to remind people that you've torn your ACL, and just to be more careful. So if you do want to return back to sports, then you have to meet with a trainer to get it more strength by doing like jumping jacks and jumping and running and more physical sporty stuff. So after that 9-month period, you can finally return back to sports if the doctor says so, and then you have to wear that brace for a year after surgery. The ACL recovery time usually takes from 6 to 9 months or longer depending on the patient. Over 90% of athletes return back to sports after tearing your ACL. So obviously it's a massive surgery and it's sad to not be doing sports for that long, but many people have recovered from it. And usually when you tear your ACL and you've had your surgery, you don't have problems if you did the recovery right. So if you do the recovery smart and do everything that the doctor says to, you can be back into sports by 6 months. So I told you what the ACL's job is, what happens when you tear it, in the recovery. And most people don't know what the ACL is, but it's a big part in the human body.